Libra darling, let's not waste time this week. Your bank manager might hold the message that unlocks your financial destiny. You didn't find this video by accident. This is not a coincidence, it's a divine appointment. A whisper from the universe. A holy invitation written with your name on it, urging you to listen, to lean in, because a spiritual shift is already in motion. And you, Libra, are at the very center of it. This is not just another horoscope reading. It's a sacred unveiling. From October 3rd to 9th, a rare and powerful alignment between Venus, your ruling planet, Jupiter, and Uranus is activating what astrologers call the secondary financial axis in your natal energy field. This isn't about a paycheck or a bonus. This is about funds, rewards, or inheritances that were previously withheld, delayed by time, bureaucracy, or karma itself. You may receive confirmation from someone who seems ordinary, a bank representative, a legal advisor, or even a distant relative, but make no mistake, the message they carry is extraordinary. It may be the long-awaited release of retirement funds, a legal settlement, a delayed inheritance, or a payout you gave up on long ago. Something is being returned to you, Libra, and this time, it's sealed by divine timing. But before we dive deeper, let me pause for a moment and thank you. Truly. Your presence here matters more than you know. Every like, every comment, every subscription helps this sacred channel Zodiac Whisper Tarot reach more souls in need of light. Your energy is not passive. It fuels this mission. So thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for being here. For showing up for yourself. For choosing to believe that something better is possible. Libra, beloved air sign of balance and justice, let me ask you something. Have you felt lately that the scales have been uneven in your life? That you've given more than you've received? That your efforts, your sacrifices, your patience have gone unnoticed? This week, the universe writes you back. And it may come as a quiet phone call, a humble envelope, or a sudden ping from your banking app. But behind that message lies something sacred, a financial breakthrough tied not just to money, but to meaning. Because this release isn't random, it's a response to your energy, your devotion, your endurance. Still, there is a warning. With great release comes great responsibility. Spirit is asking you to move in silence. Someone close to you may not have your best interest at heart. Protect your vision. Don't over-explain. Don't overshare. Let the miracle arrive without resistance or interference. So I ask you, Libra, are you ready to walk through the door that's been waiting to open? Can you feel that this is bigger than coincidence? That something long blocked is finally moving in your favor? If your heart is saying yes, if something deep inside is whispering, "This is for me," then take a moment now to anchor this moment in truth. Comment below to confirm, "I'm ready to receive what is mine. I claim this blessing with clarity and peace." And don't you dare click away. What's coming next in this reading will shock you. Because what the universe is about to reveal is not just financial, it's spiritual. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why this message had to reach you now. Let's begin. There are moments in life when the most ordinary events, like receiving a phone call or opening an envelope, suddenly shimmer with extraordinary significance. This week, Libra, the cosmos suggests that you are standing on the edge of one such moment. You may not yet see the full picture, but what awaits is a turning point, an unblocking, a movement forward that has been delayed not by chance, but by divine timing. When we speak of a bank message or a notification of funds released, we're not just referring to digits and dollars. We're speaking of energy, of something that has been tied up, held back, or paused, finally coming into flow. You see, money in the physical world often mirrors permission in the energetic world. And when energy has been stuck, perhaps through a legal delay, bureaucratic issue, or inherited karmates, as if the flow of your life force has also been paused in some subtle way. But the stars now say, the gatekeeper is ready to open the gate. This is what we call a sacred exchange. Not just the giving and receiving of currency, but the clearing of old weight, the acknowledgement of worth, and the honoring of efforts that once seemed overlooked. If you've been waiting for a ruling, for recognition, for repayment, this is not just about justice being served. It's about balance being restored to your personal universe. And it matters that this is happening under the influence of Venus and Jupiter, two cosmic forces deeply connected to value, abundance, and grace. Venus, your ruler, teaches you to align with what you truly desire, not just what you can earn. Jupiter, the magnifier, says, let's expand this. Their trine signals a rare moment where desire and delivery match. So yes, Libra, you are not merely hoping, you are harvesting. The beauty of this phase is that it doesn't demand action from force or desperation. It calls for quiet readiness. You do not need to chase this blessing down the street. You only need to stay open, aware, and grounded. Just as farmers don't yank the fruit off the tree before it's ripe, you are being asked to trust the ripeness of timing. And now, the fruit is falling. In our modern lives, we often forget that grace doesn't always arrive with lightning or trumpets. Sometimes, grace wears a suit and hands you a document. Sometimes, it calls you and says, your case is approved. Sometimes, it shows up in your bank app with a message that says, funds available. And just because it looks practical doesn't mean it isn't miraculous. Miracles, after all, are simply divine timing meeting daily life. If you've ever felt invisible, overlooked, or undercompensated, let this be your reminder: nothing good is ever truly lost. What is meant for you will always return, sometimes with interest. And perhaps that's what this message symbolizes: not just financial restoration, but emotional validation. A quiet, beautiful confirmation that the universe sees what you've been through, even if others did not. So if you're feeling a stir in your heart, a strange calm amidst the chaos, a sudden confidence that things are finally aligning, that's not imagination. That's recognition. You've been faithful with little, and now you're being trusted with more. You've waited in silence, and now you are being spoken to. And if you're here, it means the seed you planted long ago, whether in hope, in action, or in fate, is finally blooming. All you need to do is receive it. You don't need to earn it again. It was always yours. Take a deep breath, Libra, and claim it in your heart: I'm ready to receive what is mine. I welcome it with peace and purpose. Then write it below to affirm it, not just to the universe but to yourself. It's often the faces we trust the most that hold the greatest power to influence our path, not because they are inherently malicious, but because their closeness gives them quiet access to our energy. Libra, your natural desire for harmony and fairness often leads you to give people the benefit of the doubt. You listen deeply, you trust willingly, and you want peace more than you want to be right. But in this week's reading, the cards are gently urging you to observe, not to accuse, not to confront, but to simply observe with sharper clarity. In astrology, when the planetary alignments trigger your 8th house or activate aspects involving Pluto or Mercury, as they may this week, the message is not about paranoia, it's about perception. It's about understanding that energy is always in motion, and not every person in your life is aligned with your current phase of evolution. Some may carry old expectations of who you used to be. Others may unconsciously fear the version of you that is emerging stronger, more aligned, more sovereign. This warning doesn't come to stir fear. It arrives to awaken discernment. There may be someone, perhaps a friend, a colleague, or even a family member who is not actively blocking you in the traditional sense, but who subtly introduces doubt, shifts conversations away from your vision, or sows hesitation in your heart. They may say things like, "Are you sure that's the right move?" or "That sounds risky," not realizing they are projecting their limitations onto your breakthrough moment. And while they may not mean harm, the effect is the same: a slowing down of momentum, a delay in clarity, a hesitation to say yes to what is fully yours. In moments like this, protecting your dreams doesn't require confrontation. It requires quiet wisdom, stillness, a pulling back into your center. This is why the guidance now is to move in silence. To hold the details of your blessings close to your chest until they are firmly rooted. To guard the fertile soil of your future with discretion. Because when you speak too soon, when you expose too much too early, you invite interference into an energy that is still forming. We don't need to demonize others to understand this truth. Sometimes the best thing we can do is love people from a little more distance while we nurture what is sacred within us. And sometimes, honoring our path means not explaining ourselves until we are no longer vulnerable to their doubts. You may find it helpful this week to engage in practices that energetically reinforce your boundaries. Wear navy blue or deep violet to anchor your auric field. Spend 10 minutes in the morning in stillness, simply affirming, "I trust myself. I know what is mine." Let go of the need to explain your every move. Trust that your intuition has never been stronger and that it will never lead you wrong. Like tending a fire in a cold forest, some seasons call for quiet guardianship. Keep your inner flame protected. Don't let others blow on it before it's strong enough to blaze. And if ever you feel tempted to doubt what your heart already knows, take a moment to reflect on all the times you listened to others instead of yourself and how far that took you. Now, do something different. Write it down. Declare it in the comments, or speak it out loud if only for your own ears. I protect my path with clarity and calm. What is meant for me will not miss me. Then allow that truth to anchor you. The path is still yours to walk, but this time, you're walking it with your eyes open and your energy sealed. There's a quiet kind of justice that doesn't come with applause. It arrives softly, like a gentle knock on the door you forgot you were waiting to open. Libra, what's unfolding for you now isn't just a financial transaction, it's a reckoning. A rebalancing. The quiet return of something that always belonged to you, though it may have taken longer than expected to find its way back. In astrology, moments like this often occur when karmic cycles near completion. When your birth chart is activated in ways that highlight the 6th and 12th houses, or the planets align around your lunar nodes, life begins to whisper that what you once gave in silence is being measured for return. This isn't about payback in a petty sense. It's about universal symmetry. You see, energy never disappears, it's just held, delayed, rerouted until the right moment. And for you, Libra, that moment is now. You may not even remember all the ways you gave without expectation. A friend you supported without asking for credit. A loan you let go of. A dream you paused for the sake of someone else's need. Those small but deeply generous acts weren't forgotten by the energy field you live in. They were stored like sacred seeds beneath the surface. And now, one by one, those seeds are sprouting into what looks like money, opportunity, or unexpected permission to move forward. But let's take this a step deeper. The value of what is returning isn't just in the amount. It's in the meaning. What you're being handed is proof that the universe does not abandon those who give from the heart. This is why it's so important not to reject it or downplay it when it comes. Sometimes we've waited so long to be seen that when the reward arrives, we question whether we deserve it. That's a pattern you must break this week. The gift showing up in your life is not charity, it's alignment. It's yours by right of vibration. In tarot, the Six of Pentacles shows a giver and a receiver in perfect equilibrium. It reminds us that life is not only about offering, but also allowing ourselves to receive. If you're not used to being on the receiving end, this might feel vulnerable. But let it soften you. Let it remind you that grace isn't earned, it's accepted. You might be wondering what to do with this blessing once it lands. That, too, is part of the cycle. Use it to pay off a lingering burden. Use it to invest in something that builds you, your knowledge, your environment, your creativity. Use it to leave a situation that's been draining your energy for far too long. Money is most powerful when it liberates. Let this gift free you, not bind you to new fear. In my years guiding others through energetic turning points, I've seen this kind of breakthrough transform not just a bank balance but a self-image. People walk taller when they realize they were never forgotten. They speak differently when they know their sacrifices weren't in vain. And they begin to trust again, not in the system, but in the rhythm of life. So take this moment as sacred. Acknowledge it. Ground it in gratitude. Say it aloud, or better yet, write it below to declare it to the world and to your own spirit. My money is being released, I receive it without fear. Because Libra, what's coming to you is not a gift of luck, it's a return on faith. And you've earned it in the quiet, in the unseen, and in the deeply generous choices you've made without ever needing an audience. So often we think of abundance as something we chase outside ourselves, a job, a transaction, a goal just barely within reach. But Libra, there's a deeper wisdom unfolding now, one that invites you to turn inward and see your own body as the original vault of wealth. If your physical form is the container that holds your energy, your dreams, and your capacity to receive, then how you treat that vessel becomes a direct reflection of what you believe you're worthy of. The energy of this week, especially with the recent activation of your 2nd and 6th house zones in astrology, speaks not only to money and value but to health, wellness, and sustainable flow. When the 4 of Swords appears in a reading, it's never a call to laziness, it's a spiritual permission slip to pause and recalibrate. You're being asked to listen more carefully to the whispers of your own body before they become cries for help. Exhaustion, irritability, brain fog, disrupted sleep, these aren't flaws. They're messages. Messages that the system is asking for balance. As someone who works closely with cosmic rhythms and natural laws, I often remind people that you are not just your goals. You are not just your calendar. You are an ecosystem, and like any thriving ecosystem, you require care, rest, and space to reset. This isn't self-indulgence. It's self-respect. Your body is the bank that funds your every vision, and when it's depleted, your dreams are delayed not because you're doing something wrong, but because the energy that fuels action has been quietly drained. What's beautiful about this stage in your journey is that the solutions are often simple. A warm glass of lemon water in the morning, to signal to your system that you're choosing gentleness. A walk in fresh air, not as a form of exercise, but as an act of reconnection. A few deep breaths before responding to that stressful message, not to avoid life, but to approach it with more presence. Tiny shifts, repeated with care, become life-changing over time. You may even recall times when you pushed too hard, ignored the signs, or convinced yourself that your well-being was something you'd get around to after the money came in or after the goal was met. But Libra, the real power is in tending to yourself now. When you regulate your inner world, your outer world begins to respond. When you nourish your nervous system, you naturally attract more peaceful circumstances. And when you rest not from burnout, but with intention, you open space for creative insight and divine clarity to drop in. If you've ever felt guilty for resting, remember this: even nature rests. The seasons cycle through growth and stillness for a reason. Winter is not weakness, it's wisdom. And your body holds the same rhythm. It's okay to pull back in order to spring forward with more strength. This week, make a small promise to your body. Not one driven by shame or perfectionism, but by care. Whether it's an earlier bedtime, more hydration, or just breathing a little deeper, your body will notice. And in noticing, it will thank you with energy, with peace, and with the quiet power to carry you into everything you're meant to build. So ask yourself gently, have I been treating my body like the priceless asset it is? If the answer needs healing, now is the time to begin. Leave a note in the comments to ground your intention. I care for my body the way I care for my wallet, mindfully, consistently, and with love. That single choice may unlock more prosperity than you ever imagined. Sometimes, we look for confirmation in all the outer place, in numbers, emails, signs from others, when in truth, the most powerful answers have been sitting quietly in our own hearts all along. Libra, after all the movement, all the messages, all the revelations this week has brought forth, what's being revealed now is something no cosmic alignment or financial breakthrough could fully express. The key was never outside of you. It's always been within. This is the moment where the universe invites you to soften your search. Where everything slows, not because things have stopped happening, but because you're being called to listen more deeply to your own wisdom. The guidance, the clarity, the release of theory not being delivered through lightning or loud applause. They're arriving through stillness, through instinct, through that quiet knowing inside you that's been gently waiting for you to pause long enough to hear it. In astrology, this is what we often associate with 12th house energy or Neptune's 2-cha reminder that not all movement is forward, and not all progress is visible. Sometimes, the greatest transformation happens when we stop chasing and start allowing. You are not meant to earn your blessings through struggle. You are meant to remember that you are already aligned with them through being. That's why the image of a key held in the heart is so powerful. It's not metaphor, it's energy. In the same way the heart pumps life to every part of the body, your inner knowing sends signals to every area of your existence. When you trust it, everything else begins to respond. When you doubt it, the outer world begins to mirror that hesitation. This is why faith, real, quiet, embodied faith, is so magnetic. It changes the frequency of your experience. There are seasons where we ask for signs. And there are seasons where we are asked to be the sign. This is one of those moments, Libra. Not because the universe is withholding from you, but because it's inviting you to step into your own authority. What if the message you've been waiting for wasn't meant to come from a bank or a breakthrough or a stranger? What if it was meant to rise from the place in you that already knows it's safe to receive? That already knows it's worthy. That doesn't have to beg, prove, or push. This is not about denying your humanity or pretending you don't want reassurance. It's about realizing that the most powerful form of assurance is rooted in self-trust. And the moment you begin to live from that space of inner alignment instead of external permission, you step into true creative power. You become the co-creator, not just the receiver. If you've ever read stories about people whose lives changed seemingly overnight, who were on the verge of giving up only to have something shift at the last moment, you'll often find that what really changed wasn't the world around them but what they decided to believe about themselves. That is where miracles begin, not in the sky, but in the decision to stop waiting for someone else to name your worth. So this week, let the turquoise color be your anchor. Let the number 9 remind you that endings are not endings at all, they are returns. Cycles that complete themselves to make space for the new. And let your own breath remind you that you are already whole. Take a moment now to ground what you feel. If it resonates, speak it aloud or write it below. I am ready to receive what's been mine all along. Not because you asked loud enough, but because you've remembered, the key has always been inside you. Libra, if you've made it to this point in the video, then something deep inside you already knows this week carries more weight than most. Maybe you've been sensing it in your sleep, more vivid dreams, random memories resurfacing, or intuitive hunches that you couldn't quite explain. Maybe you've noticed small synchronicities, the same numbers repeating, unexpected conversations, or a strange calm in the middle of your usual thoughts. That isn't a coincidence. That's alignment. That's the universe adjusting the dial, preparing to deliver what has long been held in waiting. This is not just a week on the calendar. This is a threshold. And you, Libra, are being asked to walk through it with trust in your heart and clarity in your mind. The signs you've received, the delays, the silent moments, even the people who fell away have all served to create space. And now, that space is ready to be filled. Whether it's a message from your bank, a surprising confirmation, or a long-awaited decision, what's arriving is more than information. It's permission. To receive. To begin again. To no longer question if it's your turn, but to know, without a doubt, that it is. This is your moment of harvest. But it's also a moment of responsibility, the kind that asks you not just to celebrate, but to embody what you've learned. Can you accept what's coming without self-sabotage? Can you say yes to the open door without turning back to the old story? Can you choose, in real time, to believe that what you've been seeking is not only possible but already in motion? You don't have to answer perfectly. You just have to be present enough to choose differently. To speak more kindly to yourself. To act more intentionally. To rest when your body asks, and to move when your heart stirs. So let me ask you, just as gently but directly, what will you do when the blessing arrives? Will you use it to pay off what's been weighing you down, or will you invest it in the next version of you? Who will you call first to share the news? And who might need a little more distance, now that you're reclaiming your energy? You've helped others, Libra. You've waited longer than most. And now it's time for you to be held, provided for, and reminded that your light has always been enough. If you feel that shift, even just a little, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, have you ever helped someone without receiving anything in return? If you got financial news this week, what's the very first thing you would do? Do you feel like someone close to you has been draining your energy without giving back? These aren't just questions, theory, invitations to connect. And I read every word you write. Before you go, take a moment to support this sacred space we're building here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Every like, every comment, every subscription is another ripple in the field, another beam of light in this collective journey we're sharing. I'm deeply grateful for your presence and your energy. And if this message moves something in you, write it below as an affirmation of what's unfolding. I welcome the bank's message me money is being released. I'm ready to receive good news from October 3rd to 9th. I will not miss what's meant for me. Let this be your declaration, not of hope, but of readiness. I'll see you in the next video, where once again, the universe will whisper your name in a way only you can hear. Until then, take care of your energy, your body, and your faith. Because the door is already open, you just have to walk through.